Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the FSC Radio. Today we are talking to Ludi and Ishu about their thesis, which might be interesting to you because, well, it's something unavoidable if you do a bachelor.
And it's thesis season.
And it's
Yeah.
thesis season. And they actually have their deadlines, or Ishu has her deadlines this week, so
Yeah.
that's very nice.
Mm-hmm.
So
Are you prepared?
maybe, yeah.
I'm not prepared. Well,
But
Okay.
are you stressed?
am I stressed? To be very honest, yes, because I can feel like the anxiety as an undercurrent.
Yeah. For like the presentation or for
Yeah, for the presentation, and also like I'm submitting my final draft Thursday.
Yeah.
Ooh. Before like Good Friday. Yeah, so
Do you still need to fix things?
yes, I do. It's not a lot of stuff that I need to fix, but there's some stuff that I want to cross reference and or like check just to check. Yeah, that's gonna take a bit of time, and also make sure that everything that I said there it's scientifically correct.
Ah, right.
Yeah, which I mean it's very nice. My professor has already highlighted some of the parts where it's not really correct. He's like, you might want to look into this, you might want to look into this. So I already know where to look. So that's at least good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, introduce us to your thesis first.
Oh man, my thesis.
Just like a simple overview.
So Nisa Heidi is the astronomer here. So there's this thing called grand solar minimum, which is a period of time you get from the sun, where the sun has like very few sunspots or almost none. And there are some speculations, or at least already some theories about. It's not proven, I think, at this point, but like there is some patterns that you could see when there's like the solar minimum, grand solar minimum. There is a decreased temperature on Earth. Like it kind of affects the temperature of Earth.
Okay.
But obviously, that is like a very temperature of Earth is like it's influenced by a lot of things.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult to see the pattern, but so far there's like some pattern about it, and there's some theories about it, and all that stuff. So, yeah, that's essentially
And what do you investigate?
to see whether if there's any connection.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
So I'll just be plotting like data from the sun or like some proxies of the sun, and then the data of the temperature, and then just to see whether there's any correlations.
And I don't know if you want to give any spoilers for your presentation tomorrow, but did you find anything?
Well, so far, not exactly. But my professor was like, you can definitely see something. You might want to like think a little deeper, like, zoom out and then think a little deeper about it. So that's what I'm going to do before Thursday,
Okay.
which is like the part which I think is the hardest.
Yeah.
The juicy part of the discussion,
the
you know?
juicy part. So you
Yeah, not-
compare
Oh,
the
God.
sunspots to the temperature on Earth, basically.
It's a proxy of the sunspot, but basically you look at the time where the sun is very. I don't think quiet is the right term. I don't think so. Right?
Inactive, maybe.
Yeah. Like there's very few sunspots, and then you look at the temperature of Earth.
But how far back in time do you go?
12,000.
Oh.
Yeah, I think
Wait,
that's the
12,000. What?
12,000
Years?
years from present.
Huh? But
Oh.
how do they have data from that? Or do you model the sun and its like evolution?
That's a good question, because the sunspot only you have data for like the past few hundred
Yeah.
years, right? Yeah. There is. That's why the so-called like technical term time, the cosmogenic radioisotope come in.
Okay.
So basically, it's just like those kind of stuff that it's like from the cosmic rays, and then they are always hitting the Earth, But when the sun is like getting really quiet, they kind of hit the Earth at like a different intensity. So what we can do is that we could look at the data from those, and then they landed on the ice in Greenland, which is the part that I look at, and then they dig out the ice. They do like sample it and stuff, and then they take out the parts that are useful. They make it, and then they line it up with like dates, how many years, before present, and then you can look at the data, and then you can use those tiny little isotopes to like look at the stuff.
Isotopes.
Ice. Because it's in the ice.
Okay, it's very good. This is not like a comedic podcast because
Yeah, it's awfully specific. Yeah, so it's like cosmogenic radioisotopes.
but it's pretty cool that it's like kept in the ice there and you can just look back in time kind of.
Yeah. Costs a lot of money to look into that. But
Could you go to like oh no, probably not.
if you're a PhD, you're doing this, then you probably will be collecting your own data. That's what my professor says. But as a
cool.
bachelor, you just get the data from their deposits
Okay.
from universities and stuff.
I have a lot more questions, but maybe we should go to Ludi first. She's
Yes,
also doing her
I-
thesis.
Yeah, I'm doing my master thesis in artificial intelligence, and yay, I'm writing the robot that will destroy us all.
Oh, okay.
No,
thanks
eventually.
for the heads up.
Yeah, no, I'll program in an exception for us.
Okay,
No,
that's nice.
But I am writing about a very specific kind of old-fashioned part of artificial intelligence, or maybe it's not old-fashioned, but it's about artificial intelligence and law. And some people think that you can use statistics to perform law. I feel like
Law,
I'm giving a
wait.
presentation.
No.
Let me just try that again.
Wait. I have law as in
Law.
legislation.
Yeah, as in criminal law.
And they use statistics to make law. What?
No. Oh, yeah. Let me just start it from the top because I was like, oh no, I'm stuck. No. So I'm writing my thesis about artificial intelligence and law, like criminal law, and there are people who want to use statistics to investigate evidence, like if you see a knife that is like covered in blood and next to that you see a body lying dead on the ground, like what's the probability that this knife and the blood on this knife is from the victim? And given that this knife is the murder weapon, what is the probability that the owner of the knife is the criminal or the suspect? And so, like, some people think, well, we just need to do this with words, and we need to get in court and make all kinds of good arguments about why some stuff is admissible in court and why some other stuff is not, and why maybe you can't say that the owner of the knife is the criminal because maybe his house was just like open and everyone could walk in and steal the knife. You know, that's just reasoning with words. But some people think that you can also reason with statistics, so that you can be like, well, out of all the houses in Groningen, well, there's probably, if you take 100 houses, maybe there's 20 houses that you can just easily break into and steal a knife. So there's a 1 in 20%, 1 in 100% chance that 20 in 100% chance. You see, this is where it already goes wrong. That someone could just steal a knife that someone could commit a murder with a knife who is not the owner of the knife.
So they want to you make an algorithm to figure out the probability of.
Yes, some people want to do that, and I don't really like that approach because I feel like there's so much wrong with it. So I'm just trying to basically create a situation where I can investigate why it doesn't really work.
Oh, I think I saw a movie that's very close to this with like Tom Cruise and Colin Firth. He's very attractive in the movie, but the movie sucks. But they like also had an algorithm to predict who is going to commit a crime, and then before they commit it, they arrest them.
Yeah.
And in the end, I won't give a spoiler, but it's kind of related to this, I think.
Yeah,
but it is
sort of
scary that they like. I don't know. There's no how do they even make the algorithm? Do they just go through old cases?
Well, when I said there are people who want to use statistics, well, it's a very small community of AI and law, and within that community, like, I don't want to sound like disparaging because I'm not. Like, it's all fun, but they're just like academics writing about stuff and theoretical stuff, and sometimes it is used in court, like. In some cases, like statistical evidence is really relevant, like in the Lucia de Berg case. I don't know if you, like killer nurses.
Right.
Yeah, it's like when when there's loads of kids who die in a hospital, and then they investigate it, and turns out there's one nurse who was like in a strange number of shifts, and then someone was like, "Oh, this cannot be a coincidence," but
Right.
in the end, it was a coincidence.
Oh,
It's a really famous Dutch case. I think there's also someone made a movie about it as well. Like I haven't seen that movie. I'm not sure if it's good or not.
Yeah, but the story sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not doing exactly that, but I'm just sort of investigating statistical evidence.
have you had any success?
Well, what I'm doing is really specific, and it's really like small cases, and actually I'm not actually working with crimes. I'm just making crimes up and then seeing if statistical methods work. So within my small domain, I've had a bit of success in.
Are you committing
I think-
crimes in real life?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, I'm committing crimes in real life to get my
Everything
data.
for,
It's
everything
okay
for
for your
science.
thesis.
Yes, it's like, oh, I significantly increased the probability of someone dying. No, but I am making simulations where crimes happen. So that's like, I guess that's one step removed.
I
from,
feel
a
like you're just
problem.
behind your laptop, like laughing evilly, like,
I have to say, I made one scenario where you have the Grote Markt, and there's this there's a young person and an old person, and the young person is like trying to steal something from the old person, and they're just sort of moving towards the old person, and the old person first is very happy because I don't know, they're happy, and then they get the young person steals something from them, and then they run away, and then the old person is just sad. And the first time that it worked, I was like, yes.
What worked? The old person was sad?
No. When it worked, like when my simulation worked, and
Oh, did you actually like run a simulation of someone stealing something from an old person?
Yeah.
That sounds like so much work for, or is it not a simulation?
You could just actually do that. Just go to Shotamar
yeah, we can just actually
and they
do
will
that.
be sad.
Okay, but this is not something that's already like put in practice.
No.
But then it's difficult to like prove that it doesn't work, I would say, right?
Yeah, well, I'm trying to give some counter evidence to some theories that exist.
Okay.
So this is like step -2 in like an actual societal situation.
Okay, so how did you figure out you wanted to do that?
Oh, well, this is, I guess, kind of a long story. When I did my bachelor's, I was also in an honors track. And then for my honors thesis, I guess, or project, I wrote a paper with the same professor that I'm doing my master's thesis with. And that was really fun. And in the end, I got a publication out of it.
Oh,
Yeah, so that was great. And then I got to go to a conference and present. So that was, yeah. Yay, academics. So then for my master's project, I was like, well, I basically want, and that was about the same topic as this. So then when I did my first year of my master's, I was like, oh, actually, I don't really care about my courses. I just want to do my master's research about the same topic. So
okay. So
that
you,
turned out.
yeah.
Yeah, so basically when I entered my master, I already knew what I wanted to do.
Right. Okay.
Was commit crimes.
Yes.
Make
commit
up
crimes
fake
online.
crimes. Make a simulation of an old lady cry.
Yeah.
You have found your calling.
Yes. I can't hurt people in real life, but I can hurt people
In simulation.
yeah, in simulations.
How did you?
Well, you know, like I'm in the physics program, by the way, and then like they have like this PowerPoint slides that kind of says like, oh, you have like this a few professors you can go to do like different projects. Some
Yeah.
of them in energy, some of them in air pollution. I mean, my track is environment and energy, so like I have like specific professor I can go to, and this is like the radiocarbon is the thing that I like out of all the options I would say I'm most interested in. So that's why I just picked it. Yeah, and then I talked to the professor, and you know, radiocarbon you can go into a lot of different ways. It's radiocarbon is just something you can use to do a lot of things. Yeah, so I ended up saying like, oh, there's something. I'm a physics student, and I really like, Arctic stuff because I did my minor in the Arctic studies as well. Like ice is my shit. Ice, yes. Honestly, like I don't mind in the future just study ice because they're just. I was feeling really mind blown like during the
Why?
Arctic
What's so
lecture.
interesting about
What's
ice?
mind blowing about ice?
Yeah, ice, you think you can just, by the back of your fridge, you see ice, you put in your drinks and stuff, yeah. But ice is just like, especially in like polar regions, it influences the environment a lot. Yeah, and when the temperature of the globe goes up, like global warming and stuff, the ice also kind of, I don't know, there's so much things you can say about ice, and then there's so much models that's like, the ice sheets, they kind of melt differently, they reflect sunlight, and I don't know, there's just so much stuff that's going on. Yeah, especially in the Arctic and the Antarctica. Yeah.
Ice, baby. Sorry, I needed to do that.
So you always liked ice. So that you all like that was
No,
you always wanted to work with ice. That's
I was
your,
born
that's your
in the ice, do you
backstory?
know that? No.
Oh, you're an airbender. Okay.
No, it just like, I mean, ice is like, I never thought like ice would be like this versatile in terms of what it can do.
You never thought that ice would be so cool?
Yeah. Oh my god.
No, I hate puns. They make me very uncomfortable. I don't know why. Okay, but how did you end up on this specific topic?
Well, my professor, I mean, it's gonna be about radiocarbon, and then he came up with like a few projects after having like a quick talk with me online, and I picked the one with this one, which is the one that has connections to ice cores and all that stuff. Yeah, which I thought was interesting. And then you also look at like global warming and stuff, temperature and stuff, which is also what I'm interested in.
Because how it influences the
Yeah.
temperature, right? But your investigation is actually about the sun, right? About the sunspots.
The connection between the temperature and the grand solar minimum. Yeah. Like, does it influence? Does it not influence? That kind of stuff.
I think we should turn the tables a bit and ask you about
Yeah.
future thesis and what you're scared of.
I'm not even thinking about my thesis.
It's like a
Do you have like
void.
an idea? Like,
Nope.
Okay. Yeah, to be honest, I don't know what I'm gonna do, and then when the time comes, I
I'm
knew
just
that
going with the flow.
that's a good way as well. Yeah.
Jesus, take the wheel.
Do you even believe in Jesus? You
I
came
know.
up with
My parents are Hindu. I was raised Hindu.
Yeah.
I'm an atheist, I think. But Jesus, take the wheel, please.
We should have my mother on this podcast.
Is she like a hardcore
she will,
Jesus fan?
Yeah, hardcore. She will like revert. No, how do you say that?
Comfort.
Convert you.
To Christianity?
Yeah,
Sure, I mean, she can try.
yeah. She tried with me. It didn't work.
Very successful then.
And what about you, by the way?
The
Yeah, like, do
Thesis?
you have any idea already, or?
well, they have the Kaptein Institute here next to the uni, which is they do research in astronomy, and they have like a website with a list of projects you can choose from. You can also make your own project. So basically, my idea, I don't have an idea yet, but I can just look through the list and see if there's something that I find interesting. And then I just message the...
Have you found anything interesting?
Well, I haven't really looked, so...
Oh, yeah.
I'm
fair.
kind of like you. I don't want to...
Yeah.
And
I don't know,
I think
it's-
it's really difficult for a bachelor's thesis to know what you want. Like for
Yeah.
my bachelor thesis, I also just did a project from a list.
Yeah, because my level of knowledge on astronomy, I feel like it's still like very surface level.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I have no idea. like,
Agree.
the-
I mean, the feeling of that, you finish your bachelor's, be like, I still don't know shit.
Yeah, and if I had to make up a study myself, something to research, that would have been too. I think that's too difficult. So I don't know.
I think if you find a professor and you say like, "Hey, I have a topic that I'm interested
Yeah,
in," like that's
exactly.
already probably good
Yeah.
enough for a bachelor's thesis, right?
Yeah, because your knowledge is just not specific enough yet, and the research needs to be specific, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't want to do it, but also it's kind of fun, I guess, to do something completely independent and
Yes.
kind of actually do research. I mean, that's why you do university, right? Well, maybe not exactly, but how was it to like finally work independently on something completely that's all on you? Like,
Well, I think it's nice because you have all the control of your time. And to be very honest, I think for my personality, like, if it kind of felt like a freelancer. You meet. I mean, I meet my professor once a week on like either Monday or Friday, and then in the meantime, I mean, he will tell me like, oh, you can do this, and then you can try this, and maybe next week you can see what progress you made, and I'll just do what he like kind of asked me to. Yeah, and then yeah, it just kind of felt like you have a boss supervisor, and then the rest of the time for the whole week, do whatever you like. If you wanna, if you today you don't feel like it in the morning, you can just go take a walk, and that's sometimes what I do. And I came home or like go to the library to do like the rest of the stuff in the afternoon. And I can also, it's like completely you have the whole
yeah.
time to yourself. You can like play with the schedule however you like.
So how do you make sure you don't like
Procrastinate. Yeah. Well, the minute that I take some break, like especially if I take the weekend off, I realize that the procrastination tend to kind of go away. Sounds counterintuitive because procrastination you want to like start doing it now, right? But actually sometimes if you ration your time well, you it actually kind of helps to not procrastinate. Yeah.
And isn't it also like a little bit lonely or isolating? Because you don't see your
I don't see my
peers.
friends. Yeah, because they're doing their own stuff, and then I'm just like here. Yeah, but well, I'm an introvert, so it's not too bad.
So it's like perfect for you, maybe.
Yeah, but still kind of like I wish that I have like thesis friends, so we can like, I don't know, bitch about thesis to each other. Like, why is my data doesn't work? Yeah, honestly, funny story. There's one time in the middle of my data programming part of it, because I don't know how to program exactly, so I'm just learning it through this thesis. And then there's one part I was in the library, and it's in the silent section, and I just really want to flip the table. And there's a guy sitting in front of me. He's like typing on his whatever computer. And I just, at that time, I want to cry, but I also want to laugh. But the most I want to do is flip the table. Because I was so...
Listen, every programmer in the world can relate to this.
It's not even about programming. Actually, yeah, I was programming, but it's not so much about it. It was like, funny. This is such a stupid story, but... So for me, like part of my project is that like my data has to match the year. So sometimes, they give you like sometimes 1997 or something like that. But sometimes they will give you like how many years before present, and that's the time that I need. But some of the times they need it like they label the time in like some other AD or
Yeah, so it's not like it's not a single
and then there's so many different ways you can say. You have BC, you have AD, you have BP, you have like all kinds of stuff, and you have to like standardize them. And then there's one of them they have stuff like in like the normal year, so like 1990, 1950 something, something like that. I have to convert them into like before present, which is another time scale. And then, but then I do not know how, so I'd be like, okay, AD, what is AD? I Google, and then it'd be like, oh, AD, it's like, how many years after Jesus was born. I was like, okay. I'm like, okay, then I'm gonna go search like, how do I what year is Jesus born? And then, sorry, like to this point, it's getting a bit ridiculous, right? I mean, like you're googling actively which year is Jesus born, and then
once you're in like this sort of programming mindset, it's like, oh, I don't know anything, I can't assume anything, I have to know everything. For sure.
You just start to go with stuff like it's like an instruction, and you do like a flow kind of thing. And then I was searching like in the library, when is Jesus born? And then the Google spits out like, we don't exactly know when Jesus born. I think he's born like maybe there's a like an error for like 4 to 6 years, because we couldn't really exactly say when Jesus was born. And I'd be like, that's not helpful. And I just started to like, I don't know, I guess I was stressed, but like, when is Jesus born? Like, why the hell would anyone like Google that?
Okay, sorry, but it's 0, right? Year 0.
Yeah, but for someone who's...
Once you're in the mindset, it's like really difficult.
But I guess
2022 AD right now. Is that
I think that's
Yeah.
like 2022 after Jesus was born. Yeah.
Yeah.
For someone who's not like from the West, I don't know what 80 actually means. But
yeah,
I only
okay.
after that
Fair
I only
enough.
know like, oh, so the year that we normally use is like according to Jesus' birthday. And I was like, okay. Gosh.
God. Okay.
We should probably cut this out.
No,
This is like the best story.
But so did you have a mental breakdown or? Oh, that was like terribly
So late.
timed.
Well, you know the feeling that you want to laugh because what you're doing is just so ridiculous. Like searching when the Jesus was born, but then at the same time you'd be like, yeah, I gotta do this, man. I need to know when Jesus is born so I can cover my time.
Yeah.
And I asked my friend, asked my mom, I sent it to another text to another friend because I was like, do you know when Jesus was born? And my friend was just like, you sure? What the hell?
It's also just funny to imagine that you're like in the silent part of the library. This guy is like typing whatever, and you are having in your head a complete meltdown.
Yeah, like I
when
was
is
literally
Jesus
having
born and nobody notices. Like I don't know.
Because everyone's having their own meltdowns.
yeah, everyone is having their own when is Jesus born meltdown.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you have to keep it like I have to keep super composed so people
Yeah.
don't think I'm weird. But I
That,
just
that's
like
why that's why I program at home.
so you can like curse
I
whenever you want.
I almost had a mental breakdown because I spent the whole day trying to make an image
Oh.
transparent.
yeah,
my
that's
God.
A whole
flashback.
day.
Oh my god, yes.
oh, but that kind of stuff is so frustrating when it's like it's
You know what you want to do.
You
You
ha- but-
really know it,
Yeah.
and then you can't
just-
do it.
It just doesn't work, and sometimes next day you do almost the same
Yes.
thing and it works, and you should be like, yesterday it didn't work. Why? I don't know. Today it worked. Why? I also don't know.
Yeah, program. It's so terrible sometimes. Like you're there and you're like, I want to throw my computer across the room. I
You
want
can't throw it because
yeah, you can't throw it because it's like your thesis is on there. It's like a half a year of work.
you
Yeah.
guys need to pick up boxing. I think that's
yes.
very helpful.
Yeah, maybe.
maybe yeah.
Start punching your laptop.
Why are we start complaining about like tomato we start talking about thesis and just go down the rail of like oh
Just
look at all
violence.
this grabbing work I have to do oh
Computers. Yeah.
Is it harder to follow 3 courses or write a thesis?
Oh, that's also a question. I have.
that's a very good question.
I think 3 courses is harder.
yeah, actually same.
Oh, the thesis is like the easiest block you've ever had.
It's difficult in a different way.
It's in a different way, but I would say it's more. I like the freedom. I really like
Yeah.
the freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's. I think it's more fun because it's a topic that you can.
It's
Yeah.
something that you picked.
It's something that you picked, and it's also something where basically you can decide what you want to, like how much effort you want to put in. Like, of course, there's some sort of baseline effort,
Yeah.
but you can just sort of choose to work on it, and then or to work on a specific part. Like if you have a big thesis, like sometimes I don't want to program, so then I will write something.
Yeah.
Or-
yeah.
If I don't want to write, then I'll look up papers. You know, there's loads of different things that you can do that are all sort of mood appropriate, I guess.
Mm.
But if you have 3 courses and you have homework and this and
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
and you have to go to a lecture and a tutorial, and you have to give a presentation and all this, like it's so much more work and more stuff that you have to balance. But for your thesis, it's just like I can work on this.
But that's also like the freedom is something that would be scary to me because I would be like
Procrastination.
no, well, I would be like doubting every decision that I do and like, is this the most efficient way
Oh,
to
yeah.
do this? And
Oh yeah. Mm.
am I making enough progress? Oh, am I wasting my time on when Jesus is born? Like, I would be having these thoughts
Yeah.
constantly.
That's why I started doing this new thing, which I searched right before I started my thesis. It's called a work journal.
Oh yeah, I have that as well. Yeah.
It's really helpful
Okay.
for stuff like I think I learned it from some freelancer who shared their tips or something. They use work journal to cross reference their stuff so they can look what they did and then they can look up their progress and their and then they can like, oh, I think this part I can improve. It's like you set up your own system or something.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
I just have a notebook and I write down what I like. I basically just write a little log about what I did, and
Yeah,
also just sometimes stupid stuff like, oh, I looked out
Questions
of the
or-
window and I saw a
Yeah.
bird.
Just
Even
really
the small,
random.
even
Or
the small
reflections
things.
about
Yeah,
how what you did, and then this
Yeah.
part, what do you think about this part of your work and stuff.
yeah. Or
And then I also have like a schedule book, like an agenda, I think you call it in Netherlands.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have those two, and then you can just check.
Do you ever just like go a week without like doing anything?
last week.
Oh,
Well,
Yeah, but you were ill. So.
Yeah.
I think not like entire week without anything, but those 2 weeks I was extremely unmotivated. It was, I think, the week before last week or last week, I don't remember, but there was like 1.5 week. I tried to really drag myself out of the bed, out of my house to like work. I'd be like, there's no way I can sit at home and just do stuff. I'm just not gonna do any stuff. But I try to do it like at least half of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Well,
and it was
half a
really
day
difficult.
still,
because
still big. Still a lot of time.
in the morning, I was just sitting on my chair after I finished my breakfast, and I would just be sitting there for half an hour, be like, Ishu, stand up, get out of the chair. Ishu, stand up, get out of the chair, pack your bag, Ishu, you need to go.
Yeah, but
For
that's
like half an hour.
yeah, but you have like no one who is like you need to. Well, you have your supervisor, but no
yeah,
one
but
on a
only
daily.
once a week.
Yeah, but no one on a daily basis is like you need to motivate yourself completely, right? No one is
Yeah.
telling you.
Yeah,
like, do
yeah,
this.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah, that would be difficult. And also, don't you have? Okay, so this is maybe personal, but something I have during exam week is you have like more free time, and then I start to think about all the stuff that I don't think about when I'm busy. Like
For example,
like just existential crisis, whatever.
Yeah.
And like the thing you push down kind of comes up, and then
yeah.
does that happen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't have it when I'm working on my thesis, and I have the tendency to overwork because programming takes a lot of time. But then I'm like, okay, well, I have to relax somehow. So then I try to paint or do something. And then the moment I like sit down to paint, it's like, oh, remember all that stupid stuff from high school that you thought you were over? You're not. You can just worry about this for 2 years, for 2 hours.
Yeah.
But you, I don't know, you just sort of have to accept that, I guess. It's like, well, okay, I'm just going to have these feelings now because I guess they are here.
Yeah, that's actually a good way to do it. But one thing that I learned is that maybe it's like a good idea to, before that you, like regularly you go to like a walk or something, or journal, you just do it once a week or something, and then you just allocate this time. It's different activity for everyone. For me, it's reading in the park, and then after I read for a while, stuff will come up, and I will start to like journal, and I do that regularly. So when you have free time, it doesn't just like come up like because you pushed on for so long, it just come up. Yeah, it's like regularly you're taking care of this part of your brain.
I feel like I'm
Yeah.
using this podcast for my mental health.
I'd say if you had to like give advice to someone who was about to start this,
Yes.
what would you?
I have, well, I don't know how many tips I have, but I have some. One, like we already mentioned, like keep a work log.
Yes,
I don't
highly recommend.
I don't really look at it that much, but just knowing that I've written it down somewhere, like, and just in the moment when you're like really happy because something worked and you wrote it down, like it's just a good way to sort of deal with your feelings
Yeah.
when you're working. So that's a good thing. Also, if you're programming, back up your work, commit stuff.
Yes. Oh my god.
Put it on GitHub. Please do it. Please don't think, oh, I'll do it later. Your computer will crash. So yeah. So that another thing.
Or you just accidentally like dropped it on the floor.
Yeah.
You're like all behind.
Yeah.
And you just think about, wait a second. Last time I backed up was 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And this actually happened a couple of days ago. And I was like,
Wait.
shit.
You what?
I dropped it like when I was picking up. When I was like,
Oh, you dropped it. Oh,
You
I
dropped
thought
it
you
when it's
dropped
hot.
dead in Albertine. I was like, what?
I dropped my computer like from my bag to like on the floor in Albertine when I was checking out. Yeah.
That's not good. That's not
And
great.
that's the first thing I thought about is like, okay, that's really expensive thing that I just dropped. And then second thing is like, last time I back on my data was like 4 weeks ago.
When you lost and wait,
No,
did you
I didn't lose anything. My computer is fine.
Oh,
But
okay.
like,
Yeah.
Thank God.
Praise Jesus.
knock on wood, man. Oh god. Backup. Yeah, backup.
Oh, another tip if you're writing that. Two tips. One thing is keep a list of the papers that you want to cite as you go. Don't do it all the way at the end. Which is advice that I should take myself because I don't do that. And one thing when you're writing and you notice that you're like at sort of coming to the end of your motivational period, you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. But you've written a bit, like stop in the middle of a sentence that you're still excited about. Just don't even finish the sentence, just keep it open. And then just close your computer and go do something else. Because then when you get back, you know, oh, I can still finish the sentence. Like you basically remove one of the, what's it called?
Oh,
Like
so you have a place to
threshold.
start.
yeah, you have a really easy, accessible place to start.
Yeah.
So that
That's good
really helped me
advice.
when I wrote.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I heard this advice.
Oh,
Like 2 weeks ago.
well, maybe you can still use it for.
Yeah, well, now it's just editing because I have the draft already. So
yeah.
yeah.
I also, okay, so I don't do my thesis, but anytime I write anything, I always read it the next day again, because then you actually see, like, if the words flow correctly, if it's clear or whatever.
Yeah, that also.
That's also
just
really good advice. Yes.
have enough, keep enough time for editing. Like my, the master thesis is 45 credits, and I started in, I think, this middle of the first block, and now it's April, and I was talking to my supervisor, and he was like, well, yeah, it's about time that you finish a first draft at the end of April. And I was like, at the end of April, okay. So, because then you have your first draft at the end of April, then you have 1 month to fix all the things that are wrong in your first draft, and then you have, like, programming wise, and then you have June to finish it all up, and then you can like graduate at the end of June. So you basically should. My advice is you should keep 3 months at the end of your thesis to just write it and then write it again.
Yeah, but okay, so that's for a master thesis.
Oh yeah. For a bachelor thesis, no, don't take 3 months at the end.
By the way, like, did you not have like met with your supervisor saying that the first draft should be handed in, like, you know, way in advance, like that should be already like agreed upon? I thought like the whole timeline thing, it should be agreed upon. So like the whole thing is very transparent. So there's
maybe.
nothing caught off guard, you know, like.
I think no. The one thing that is like that is necessary is a go/no-go meeting in the middle, and that's basically when both you and your supervisor are like, oh, do we actually want to continue with this?
Yeah.
And I think for the rest, it's all stuff deadlines that you can set yourself.
Yeah.
And like I know my supervisor very well, and I was like, well, and he knows me, so it's like, well, I think it's fine if we are not very like, oh, this is the deadline and that's the deadline and that's the deadline. So, yeah.
Okay,
So I really have to write a lot this rest of April,
Yeah.
but that's fun.
You meet with your supervisor like once every 2 weeks, but
Yeah.
can you ask questions? Like, can you email them?
You can email them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Depends a bit on, like, especially in AI, there's a big problem with supervisors because there's not a lot of people to supervise master thesis. And then sometimes people can't graduate on time, which sucks. Yeah. Yeah, if you want to do an AI...
Because it's just too many students.
Yeah.
Wow.
And there's also a bit of a imbalance because loads of people want to do a machine learning project, but there's not as many machine learning, what is it called, professors. So... yeah, that's a problem. Anyway, sometimes your supervisor might not answer your question because they're busy, and then you just have to wait for the meeting. But usually they will. So
I guess that's the perk of, like, you know, because I'm in the physics program. Majority of people are in nanophysics or particle physics. So I'm sort of at a niche space. So my supervisor does not have a lot of people to manage. So he was like quite available.
Oh,
Yeah. He was like, if you have questions, I will answer your email. Don't worry about it. yeah. yeah.
Oh, that's
But
nice.
I can imagine if you have like a professor that has to manage like 20 bachelor theses, and I don't know how many, then they probably don't have time for
No.
you. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's just
the-
like, oh, you
Yeah.
can talk to me in my meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe one final question.
Do you have an office?
Oh,
No.
that was not my question, but
What is
Yeah,
your
my home is my
Yeah,
office.
my home.
I think you get an office when you have a PhD.
Oh.
Yeah, you're yeah.
What was different from what you expected?
Expectation versus reality.
Yeah.
I thought I could do more in the time,
Oh,
but no.
Agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
But actually, my supervisor has a very good idea about this thing you will probably take 4 weeks, and I'd be like, I think I can do it in 3. Like I had it in my head, I'd be like, I think I can do it in 3, but then yeah, I took like 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, so thanks everyone for listening. Good luck with your own thesis. Yeah, you can do it.
You can do it. Yes.
Make a work log, back up all your data,
Stop in the middle of sentences.
and try to stay happy.